It's ACC tournament time, and Carolina's going to have to do it without Caleb Wilson. So, what exactly is that going to look like?
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Tuesday, it's March 10th, 2026. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network, which is now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch, and I want to give a special shout out to all the everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our insiders as well. This episode's brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential payout with college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com right now to get started. I am very excited to start really prepping for the ACC tournament today on the show. And here to join me is a dude that once hit a game-winning layup in the ACC tournament to send Carolina past Miami and on to the semifinals. None other than Big Z, Tyler Zeller. I know Luka wears 44 these days, but nah, Big Z is the number 44 in all your hearts. Tyler, great to be with you, brother. Excited to talk ACC tournament.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We got a great team, and obviously Caleb Wilson's a huge loss, but still a fun team to watch. And I'm interested to see what we can do against some lesser talent that's not Duke.
That's exactly right. So here's how Tyler and I are going to unpack that today. We're going to talk about, I know we've seen 7 games of Carolina without Caleb Wilson, but now it's different. It's postseason. There's finality. There's no Caleb light at the end of the tunnel. It's done and over. So what does that mean now? I also want to ask Tyler, hey, give me 3 things that you're specifically watching for from this team in the ACC tournament. And then I thought it'd be fun to wrap the show today in segment 3, taking a trip down memory lane, talking with Tyler about his memories of the ACC tournament in his 4 years. Obviously, we're going to hit that crazy Miami comeback in which Tyler did hit the game winner off of, whoa, how did I catch this ball from Kendall Marshall, who just would throw it to you at any time. And then obviously next week we get to NCAA Tournament and March Madness. I do want to remind you that I'm going to be on Amazon Fire TV's bracket breakdown each weekend starting Selection Sunday, along with Gordon Hayward, Butler Bulldog, and NBA All-Star, 2005 Carolina National Champion Jesse Hawley, all of that hosted by Kylan Mills of the Big Ten Network. Check it out. It'll be on Amazon Fire TV. Tyler, Thursday night, Carolina going to be in action late. You're going to be on the call. I hope you're getting naps in now, having some coffee. 9:30 Eastern is the tip, and that's the scheduled tip. We know how this goes.
Yeah.
The game's going to take forever before, and it'll probably be 9:45 or 10 before it actually tips off. Carolina either playing 5-seed Clemson, 12 Virginia Tech, or 13 Wake, whoever wins coming out of that, which is also a late tip Wednesday night, so we won't know really till late in the night Wednesday. Tyler, here's what I want to start and what I want to ask you. With the knowledge that Caleb is done, how would you, if you were Hubert Davis, have this team operating in the postseason?
I think very similar to what he's done in the last 7 games. I think we'll first start with the Duke game. Really, the biggest thing that happened in that Duke game is we played 25 really good minutes. It was a 1-point game, 3 minutes into the second half.
That's right.
And then at 44-47, at that point, Carolina couldn't score. Duke turned their defense up. And if you look at the first game, the exact same thing happened. Duke turned their defense up for about a 10-minute stretch, and Caleb Wilson scored bucket after bucket after bucket, and really just one-on-one tough shots in scenarios where they probably wouldn't have scored without him. Carolina has moments now where we don't score the ball. And on the other side, you have to make sure your defense picks it up. You gave up 24 points, and most of those were challenged. Some of those, Cameron Boozer was just that much more talented. I mean, he's an animal inside. They were able to get the ball inside, and we double teamed, and all of a sudden Malik Brown gets a couple layups to start the game, and then we stop double teaming, and he scores 1-on-1. And so he's just such a hard matchup. You got to be careful with Isaiah Evans. So anyway, long story short, Duke's got all the weapons.
Yeah.
I think against most other teams, our defense is big enough and stout enough that it can hold most people to a reasonable amount. I think we got to rebound a little better. And then offensively, you just got to find a way to score. I think that a large part of that's going to be on Henri Veesaar. We're going to try to pound the ball inside. Malik Brown did a phenomenal job on him. He couldn't catch the ball. When he did catch the ball, he was uncomfortable and he made it really difficult. And I don't think most teams are going to have somebody of his caliber defensively to slow down Henri. Because if Henri can get going, all of a sudden you got a double team, which allows all the other guys to be able to get open. And that's what Caleb brought to the table a lot. So you got to make sure we try to get the ball inside to him. I think our guards, again, Malik Brown, to me, Malik Brown, if you take Malik Brown off this Duke team is not a national championship contending team because of his ability defensively to impact the post as well as pick and rolls. Our guards were almost scared coming off the pick and rolls because they come out and his hands are so fast. They would just hesitate instead of attack, turn the corner, double team, drop it, don't double team, get to the layup. And it just stopped everything. And he had 5 steals, but he had many, I don't know what his official deflections number was, but I bet it was 15 to 20. I mean, just even there's a couple of times we got a rebound and the guy standing with the ball up and all of a sudden he just comes and pokes it out of bounds.
Yep.
And it was incredible to watch. And so not having somebody like him on the floor, I think our pick and roll offensive attack will be much more potent. I think we're going to have the ability with Stevenson at the 4. We're going to need him to make some shots. But the games he has made shots, it just spreads everything out. All those guards are able to get downhill easier. Henri has more space inside, and we actually have more space without Caleb Wilson than we do with him. Now, the caveat is teams pack it in, you got to make those shots. So
that's right.
Really, I think just continue to do what we've been doing, continue to defend at a high level. Got to clean up some defensive rebounding things. Teams have been successful with that. And then offensively, just try to find a way to get the ball to where we need it and try to attack off the pass more than the dribble and then get downhill.
I really love Tyler. You spoke about Henri Veesaar there a good bit. I loved his comments after the game of saying like, hey, basically like we folded, like we gave in to Duke, if I can interpret it. We saw, I don't know if I'd call it hero, but Carolina basically like got out of their offense and is just like you saw, it almost felt like this isn't a lot of the maturity we're used to seeing from a lot of mature players like a Seth and like a Henri and et cetera. And so I appreciated Henri calling that out, but not throwing teammates under the bus. He said we and included himself in it. And when I started looking at his numbers, Tyler, over the last 3 games, Henri's averaging like 16 or 17 and 8, 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And so is there a world in which you're just essentially, I'm going to play through Henri, let him be the dominant force in this game, let him score or facilitate or whatever's needed? Like, is that a recipe for success?
I think so. Or you end up with the opposite of teams are going to try to take away Henri. And all of a sudden, every time Henri sets a pick and roll, have Seth turn the corner. And, Seth got 30 in a game because basically they refused to help off Henri. Henri set a screen. They're pushed up on him and Seth just turns the corner and goes shoots a layup. And so I think you just got to be aware of how teams are going to guard us. And in that case, Henri has to be kind of the cog that makes it all go. And you want to play through him. But if teams are so aware of him that they're going to take everything away from him, attack, get downhill, make them adjust. And then when they adjust, come back to Henri. And I think he's going to have to be good one-on-one in the post. And late season here, he's shown he can do that against most people. I think that's a huge part of our offense now.
Tyler, let me ask you this. Like after when Caleb got hurt the first time coming out of the Miami game, pretty quick turnaround, you got to prepare and it's difficult. And I think people would imagine, hey, I don't know why Carolina looked out of sorts in this game because Caleb was already hurt and he's still hurt again. But is there a level at which, hey, mentally, we're expecting Caleb to be back on Saturday? And so it's another quick change because you basically have a day to say, oh, actually, Caleb's now not playing. And we've got about 24 hours to figure it out and go, this is who we got. So as a player, how difficult is that? Versus now they've got 4 days to figure out like, this is who we are. Let's get ready for Clemson, Virginia Tech, Wake, whoever it's going to be on Thursday night. How take us inside your brain as a player. How hard is that quick change?
I think it's pretty difficult. I don't know if he would have played Saturday. I think there was a potential that he was trying to work back to it. I don't know if he would have made it or not, but at the end of the day, losing somebody who gives you so much is just emotionally taxing. He's a friend, he's a teammate, he's the guy who's saved him so many times this year. And so to emotionally lose that guy, whether he was coming back in 2 weeks or tomorrow, is taxing. And so I think it's just a hard thing to be able to come out and do. And to play Duke in the way that we did is probably the best thing that we could have had because we didn't need the win. Now, I would have loved to go over there and win. They were the better team for sure on Saturday. But to have a game where you go out no consequences really come of the game, and now we can get ready for Thursday, I think is huge. I think
Hmm.
now we can really work on focusing on those offensive sets that hopefully make us better and get rid of some of those offensive sets that were so Caleb heavy. And I think hopefully be able to put in a few new things, and just it gives the coaches some time. Sunday they would have been off. I don't know what they did on Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday ramping it back up. Gives them some time to watch film, see what's been successful when Caleb's out of the game, and hopefully be able to build going into Thursday. And then that gives us, again, Thursday, hopefully another one or two before the tournament. And then it's, survive and advance. At that point, you don't got a choice.
And I guess also in what you're talking about there with those practice days is there's not a big travel day baked in where you got to get on a plane and go somewhere. You're just driving over to Charlotte. And so that gives more time there at home in Chapel Hill. And that's good news too. Tyler, regardless of how many days Carolina has in the tournament, like I'm sitting here as you and I record on Monday, Georgia Southern is going to play tonight in the Sun Belt Championship, 6th time in 6 days. Like that is crazy. It's like it's a wild scene, but at most Carolina could play 3 games in 3 days. The only real experience you ever get similar to that is like Thanksgiving week MTE or something like that. How do you taking us back? How do you physically prepare for the grind of 3 games in 3 days? How much are you considering like different personnel substitutions and stuff? But you got to win, but you got to keep guys fresh too. Like, how do you balance all of that?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think no matter what you do, well, first of all, I'll start with they're 17 to 22-year-olds. So bounce back is pretty quick, thankfully. Secondly, it's hard. If you're going to play, especially the past few years, we're playing 5 or 6 guys. It's really hard because you got a lot of minutes. The teams I feel like that are the most successful in those scenarios play 9, 10 guys. You get those minutes down to 27 to 30 minutes, and you don't get as taxed over 3 days. If you can find a way to get a blowout where you have 20 to 25 minutes, you can really save your legs a lot. I look for Duke, honestly, on Thursday to try to blow them out as much as possible and save legs of those main guys. So it's a tough scenario. I think you can come in and you're going to compete, you're going to do everything else. But the good part is every other team's going to play just as many as us, if not more. And so when we see whoever we see on Thursday, they will have played 1 or 2 games. And then, if we happen to win, Duke wins, we both have played 1. And so thankfully you're not playing a team. We're not one of those teams playing on Tuesday that all of a sudden you're 3 games in and the other team's fresh. That's about impossible to win. And so, I think it's just one of those, you got to do everything you can, get in the cold tubs, get the Normatex, massage, anything you can do to try to recover and get back out.
Man, that's a good word. Yeah, and we'll keep our eyes, obviously, Carolina without Caleb Wilson. For Duke, I don't care if it's Duke, anybody. Like, we never want to see Duke hurt. So hopefully the best over there for Pat Gongba and for Caleb Foster as well. We'll keep our eyes on that.
I'll say this. I think I have some friends that are Duke fans. I don't think anybody in the North Carolina Duke series ever wants to see somebody injured.
That's right.
As a player, I never do. I want to beat them at full strength, and they want to beat us at full strength. And we each know that neither of us were at full strength, but at the same time, we're going to go out, we're going to play, we're going to give everything we have. And that's what makes this series incredible is no matter what happens, anybody can win. And it doesn't make sense sometimes, but it's what I love about this series.
Man, that's well said, TZ. And that's a great segue to where we want to continue to look ahead at this ACC tournament. How important is it? And I want to ask Tyler to give us, educate us, help us be ready to look ahead to this thing. What are 3 things to watch for coming up in the ACC tournament, starting for Carolina on Thursday, but starting for a couple teams today, Tuesday? Crazy stuff there. We'll hit it in just a second. Right after I tell you about Robinhood. Hey, what if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction market changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always have known the game, but I've never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. And now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. So trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app right now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. This episode is also brought to you by TurboTax. Y'all, it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is, well, a lot. Ugh. Trying to book an appointment, well, that's not the most convenient. You're sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers like, do I have it all or am I missing stuff? You're emailing back and forth and wondering, like, do you really understand my tax situation, right? Like, I need you to understand what I'm going through here. But this year, good news. You're getting a major update because Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with the real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app right there on the spot. And just like that, boom, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you just go about your day. It's like, oh, I'm sipping a latte. I'm talking to my friend Tyler. Look at that, tax notifications. Great. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing that your taxes are being handled the right way. No stress, and I love that. So head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Hey, if you've been thinking about joining the Locked On Everydayer Club, right now is the time. I want to remind you, you'll get ad-free versions of the show, access to our group chat on Discord, one-on-one texting with me, and if you sign up before the NCAA Tournament tips off next week, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Would be a lot of fun. Use code MARCH to get your first month free of the Everydayer Club. Check it out. That link's in the show notes. Tyler Zeller. We are getting ready for the ACC tournament. Hard to believe it. Carolina will play in 2 days. I can't believe we're here. The regular season's over. Like, what happened? It's always the thing. But Tyler's going to be on the call. He's going to be sitting there courtside with Jones, and they're going to be keeping us up to date on all the great action. So, Tyler, as you go through watching these games, watching the Tar Heels in action, watching the Tar Heels as they prepare for the NCAA tournament, I'd love for you to give us 3 things that you're looking out for that can make us smarter people as we're watching these games.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go real simple, you can say you got a defensive rebound. You got to stop giving up offensive rebounds. Can't turn the ball over. I think Duke, we struggled with some turnovers, didn't get shots, struggled on that end. And then overall, you just got to play good defense. I think this team is best when we get stops, which means you got to get rebounds, and then you get out in transition. And we can get out in transition, make plays. It helps elevate your offense. You steal a couple easy buckets. But if you want to go a little deeper, I think the biggest thing for me is defensively, you got to be solid. You got to make sure your switches are tight. You got to make sure that you're not giving up wide open threes. And this team, honestly, without Caleb Wilson, has been better about that, which is kind of funny that the most athletic person on the floor.
Can we push in on that? Can you explain why that is for people?
I think some of it is, I mean, Caleb is a young guy who doesn't get to all of his rotations. We see the highlight rebounds and we see the blocks and we see some of that. I think having somebody like Jarin Stevenson, who's played 3 years in college basketball, he just knows where he's supposed to be. He's savvy. He gets to his rotations. He knows where to be. And another part of that is Derek Dixon's playing at a high level. I think he's defending. A lot of people don't see what he adds to this team. He defends at a high level. Seth Trimble's doing what he does. We just have good defenders. Powell can bring a lot to the table. He can pick some people's pockets. I think and then honestly, Bogavac is an above average defender when he wants to be. He can get after guys, and yeah, there's times, but other times, I mean, he gets fired up. He'll deny somebody all the way from the baseline and make it difficult on them. And so I think the team has a lot of good individual defenders, as well as they're coming together and playing well together. And so I think sometimes we get into rotations that make it difficult to rebound, or we want to run to transition so fast that we forget to rebound. There's been a couple times where they're like, oh, so-and-so's got it. And then all of a sudden somebody comes underneath and gets it, and we are already running the other way. So I do think that's a large part of it. I think Henri having one big inside allows those guys to be able to spread out a little more, and he's able to clean up so much inside. But then to continue to add to what we got to work on, we got to make some shots. I think this team, the margins are so thin that offensively you're going to get in the paint, and that's going to always be the priority. Get downhill, get the ball to Henri, get penetration, get whatever you can. And then when they collapse, you got to hit out, and we got to make those shots. If we're not making those shots, it's going to be a short postseason. I think it's just teams are going to pack it in, and they know that when we don't do that. I mean, Bogavac made 6 threes the other night. And so
against who was that? Can you remind me?
Clemson.
Huh. Interesting.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. So I think basically we just got to continue to build on those kind of things and be able to find the right shots, but also not settle for 30+ threes, because at that point, then you're just chucking threes and you're not getting the best shot possible. So I know that's more than 3.
No, that's great. I love it.
That's kind of the analysis of the building that we have to be able to do. But it all starts, I think, for me, with no turnovers, which we've been really good at all year. You got to make sure you get a shot. If you're turning the ball over, we don't have enough firepower to make up for 14, 15 turnovers when the other team's only turning over 8 times. And so got to do that, and then you got to rebound. If you're giving up second chance, again, if you're giving up 10+ shots to the other team, we don't have enough firepower to make up for that.
I'll remind everybody of the numbers I've been talking about coming out of the Duke game. The points coming off of those offensive rebounds surrendered and the turnovers. Carolina was -20 in points off turnovers and -10 in second chance points. So combined, Carolina was -30 against Duke on second chance points and points off turnovers. Just simply cannot happen. Tyler, let me follow up on something with that that you just said, and my brain is losing it in real time as I was trying. So one of the things for Carolina is the last 5 games they've shot over 35% from 3 in every one of them, including a couple games over 40% in that stretch. One of the things we saw, I know Derek Dixon's running the show from the point guard standpoint. One of the things we saw a couple different times Saturday night against Duke is because of Seth's elite level penetration, he would draw some great gravity and had multiple kickouts for threes. So how do you kind of bridge that gap of Derek doing it, but also giving Seth, as you were talking, those opportunities to kind of, when a lot of attention goes to Henri, Seth getting downhill and either finishing or being that facilitator?
Yeah, I think what we've seen recently is Derek brings the ball up the floor. He initiates the offense, whether that's coming off a pick and roll or just passing and cutting. And then usually as the clock runs, Seth ends up with the ball. And I think a large part of that is Seth has the ability almost always to get into the paint. And so he's big and physical. So when he goes downhill, he's going to draw a foul. He's going to be able to kick out. He's going to be able to make a play. And a large part of when we were at Duke, when we got stagnant, was Seth was out of the game. And we couldn't get the ball inside that 3-point line. We passed around the outside too much. And then I think some of the 3-point percentages happen. There's a stat that's a stat, but not really a stat. The more 3-point shooters you have on the floor, usually the higher the 3-point percentage of the group. And a large part of that is, again, you're spread out. And so when Caleb, who's not really a 3-point shooter, is on the floor, you got 2 guys in the paint, you can pack it in, and you just got to be cognizant of 2 to 3 guys and get out to them. And the other 2 are just rotating around trying to cover everything. With 4 shooters on the floor, all of a sudden it's more spread out. Henry's usually engaged with the big. So when you drive, you either give up a layup or you give up a wide open kick out 3. And so the quality of the shot's usually higher.
And it also doesn't hurt that big you just mentioned, Henri, is himself a great 3-point shooter and can step out and knock it down and further spread the court. Tyler, while you were talking about that, thankfully it reminded me of what just left my brain. And you were talking about the number of 3-point attempts, kind of living in a better range. In an ideal world for you, what is that range of 3-point attempts you would like to see this Carolina team take a game?
I mean, less than 30.
I know that's game. I get that it's game script dependent, right?
I think that's less than 30. If you get hot, go 30 plus. That's great. I mean, if you're shooting 40% plus from the 3-point line, keep getting them up. I think, and that's where the flow of the game, Coach Williams with us is always so good of, hey, you missed 2 threes. Don't be an idiot and take a third. Like there's a little bit of that. And so, and I'm paraphrasing, he would not say that, but that's the sentiment that he would get across. But I think you just got to know the flow of what you're getting. And if you make 1 or 2 in a row, then push your limits and take a third. And I think you just got to make sure you continue to get good quality threes, because we've seen this team, when they're getting good shots, we make a lot of them. When we get bad shots and we're forcing them late shot clock, it's not. Derek Dixon's about the only one who's shown he can make late shot clock threes, and he's actually shoots them at a high level. But
that young man has a clutch gene, Tyler Zeller.
I'll tell you
that right now.
And I tell you what, of all the people, Henri said that I wouldn't say they gave up, but they they were wounded.
Yep.
Derek was not. Derek kept coming back. He was pushing. He was trying. He was just in his own little bubble out there making things happen. And man, I love the kid and how hard he plays. And I think he's just going to continue to give us so much.
And we've seen it in multiple high-level games. Kentucky, both Duke games, the end of the Clemson game, another big three. So it's like he just keeps doing it. You mentioned Coach Williams. I want to ask you something, because there was always, Tyler, this like hubbub, this rumor that Coach Williams didn't really care that much about the ACC tournament and just kind of almost like saw it as a like appetizer for the big dance, right? There's all the funny numbers about like, when Carolina wins championships, they lose in the national championship. They lose in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. Like, was that a real thing, whether directly something he said to you all or implied, or is that just a like, oh, that's just Carolina lore?
I think we all knew it. I don't know if Coach Williams necessarily caused it or talked about it, but we all knew the stat that like, hey, if you win the ACC tournament, no other national championship team's done that. And so there was a little bit of that, I think, in the back of all of our minds. I don't think Coach Williams put it there. I think we just all felt that way. And so I think that's where the, whatever you want to call it, comes from. And there was definitely conversations in the ACC tournament of like, guys, like, well, I remember one year we're playing State and it was in the semifinal game. It was my senior year.
Yep.
And we're sitting there and we're down, I can't, single digits, but not much. And State just wouldn't shut up. And because we were okay, we're like, hey, like semifinals, we can go home on either Friday or Saturday, whatever the day. I think it might have been Saturday. Like, let's go home, get ready for the NCAA tournament and all this. And they just kept chirping about this and that. And about 8 minutes left in the game, like we get together and we're like, guys, like we got to win this. Like we can't let them keep talking like this. And all of a sudden, thankfully, we're good enough. We turned it on. We ended up winning, and then we lost the next night. I think Florida State.
Yep.
But it's in the back. Like any other game of the year, that none of those thoughts would have ever crossed our mind.
Interesting.
And so we still went out. Like Florida State, we competed. We gave everything we had because at that point, you're there. You might as well. But I think there was a little bit of a stigma around it and around the program of like, hey, if you win the ACC tournament, you can't win the national championship. It's like, well, I don't know if that's true, but yeah, here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, I love it. You guys beat State 69-67 that night, lost to Florida State 85-82 the next day after crushing Maryland, by the way, in the quarterfinals your senior year. And Tyler, that's where we want to go next to wrap the show, man. One of my favorite things to do. I'm a dude that loves to reminisce like nobody's business. So you and I are going to take a little stroll down memory lane, looking back at your ACC tournament experiences, and we'll do all that coming up to wrap the show in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. I wouldn't have it any other way, but big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read on the games. You can mix spreads, totals, player props. Doesn't matter. You see it, you do it. And then you apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. How about some ACC tournament odds? As you might guess, the Blue Devils are the favorite, sitting at minus 310. Carolina actually has the fifth best odds. I think a lot of that is Caleb Wilson induced at plus 2,500. But if you think Carolina can put this thing together, go on a run, no Jalen Withers lane violations this year, man, why not rock with it? Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. Your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Again, that's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. This episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome into the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which ones are sleepers that you need to get in on as well. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one can take away that top spot. For me, the number one overall draft pick is strawberry banana. This has been my favorite flavor of anything always. I love milkshakes, yogurt, smoothies, whatever it is. Give me that strawberry banana combo. I love the sweet of the strawberry. I love the like tropical flavor of the banana. They just go together so well. I love that 5 Hour Energy has this. But for me, that sleeper pick that you got to check out, your boy Schade is a Georgia boy, so I love anything peach always. But I also really, in my adult life, have really learned to grow to like mango a lot. So they got peach mango flavor. I love this combination. It's so good. Check it out. And I'd love to know your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy as well. So check it out. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. 5 Hour Energy. Check it out today. All right, we're going to turn back the clock now to the ACC tournaments circa 2009 to 2012 when Mr. Zeller was suiting up in that number 44. Obviously, his freshman year in 09, just kind of coming off of that injury, really working his way back into things. So I think, Tyler, you scored a total of 4 points in those 2 games. So really we'll spend most of the I'm a research nerd. So
I was going to say, I don't remember if I even played. I knew I did, but I didn't know if I scored. So
you did. You had 4 points and 3 rebounds against Virginia Tech. Way to go. But mostly, I want to forward ahead to a game that stands out as one of my favorite Carolina games of all time. It's the 2011 quarterfinals. This is Tyler's junior year. Carolina is the 1 seed overall. They're playing Miami in the quarterfinals. We know now Carolina wins this game 61-59, but I remember vividly where I was as the Hurricanes just jump out to this crazy lead. Tyler, we get to the point where Miami is up 19 with like 9:55 to go. They're up 53-34. You guys, like the 2011 Tar Heels, now helmed by Kendall Marshall and this great collection of talent, have scored 34 points in 3 quarters of that game. Like that alone is wild to me. And then Tyler, what happens from that moment?
I have no idea. I mean, we put it together. It wasn't like, I was just talking about playing against State, like where we had this meeting of, hey, let's go and let's do this. That 2011 team was just so much fun. I think we were incredibly talented. Thankfully, Harrison Barnes was one of the guys on our team because, man, that guy could fill it up. And he had a phenomenal freshman year, and he carried us. I think Kendall, obviously, being the floor general that he was, he realized that Harrison got hot. So we started feeding him the ball. He made some shots. I think Reggie Bullock made a couple shots, and everything just started falling in place. And one of the things that team had that year was we could score a lot in a hurry, and we showed that in that span. And we used to always joke the whole year that Coach Williams would call a play, and we would get to the first option, and it'd be over. And Coach Williams we'd say, like, Coach Williams, I'm like, do we really even know what the second option is? Like, yeah, we can do that, but Coach, we don't need to. Like, we got this. But I mean, if you look back, it was incredible. Like Dexter Strickland was our 2 guard, but he got hurt. So that's Reggie Bullock, Harrison Barnes, John Henson, and then Kendall running it. I mean, just so much firepower, ability to score across the board. And then the Miami game, it just all came together at the right moment, I think. And 19 down 19 with 10 minutes, we're like, all right, we got nothing to lose at this point. We've played as bad as we can, and we're able to put it together and sneak out of there.
I would not have remembered this, so I don't expect you to, but I'm going to give you a little trivia question here. Right after they went up 19 right there with like 9:55 to go, immediately you guys came back down the floor and somebody nailed a left wing 3. Do you remember who it was? Obviously not Dexter because he's hurt.
Yeah, I would have guessed Reggie Bullock, but I don't know that.
Leslie.
How
about that? Leslie McDonald.
We put it all together. We brought everybody out.
I love it, man. Crazy stuff. But Tyler, it comes down then to under a minute to go. We'll get to your game winner here in just a second, but you also had a nice little hook to tie it up with about 45 seconds left. I don't know if you remember that moment much at all, but really nice stuff there. Who was it on? Over Reggie Johnson.
Reggie Johnson.
It was
Big Reggie Johnson.
Dude, he was massive,
He's
right?
Awesome.
Like, what?
I did not enjoy playing against him.
I can't imagine not. Why is that?
I told Kendall, I was like, Kendall, I'm going to run as fast as I can because I don't want to wrestle with him. And I was like, I know at some point I'm going to have to, but I'm just going to run. But he was in really good shape. those, like, he'd get up and down, and he might be a little bit slower than me,
Sure.
but by the time he got there, it wasn't like you did it twice. Some guys that size, you run up and down as fast as you can, make them chase you 2, 3 times, and they got to come out. He was in good enough shape. He'd make it a while, and but I was always happy when he needed a breather.
I can imagine so. And then we get to the game-winning shot. Kendall, I think Miami had a turnover. Kendall streaking down the court. You're already on the left block, as he often did. It wasn't a pitch ahead kind of play, but Kendall drew a lot of gravity. Both guys came over to the right side of the rim. Tyler, like, just take me through, if you can remember back to your processing of that final play and what happened.
Yeah, I think Kendall and I played together long enough that I knew I needed to have my hands ready. Him going to his right hand, which he was really good at, but he's not going to shoot it. He's not going to shoot a floater with a right hand. So I actually expected him to try to throw it all the way across court to the corner or try to get it up on the boards. And then by the time I caught it, I was like, holy smokes, there's not a lot of time left. Like, because he'd gone all the way under the basket and kind of done a little wrap around. And he had done it enough times. I knew I had nobody around me. All I had to do was get it up on the boards.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all right, I gotta get this out of my hands as fast as possible. And waited to celebrate a second just because I was like, I got to make sure that this is off in time. I don't want to be that guy running down the court and like, and no, the ball, it wasn't even close. And so, but Kendall put the pass right on the money and made it easy to be able to kind of flip it up there. And we were able to get out of there.
What was funny, and you and I were talking about this before we recorded, I couldn't remember if you had dunked it or laid it up, but then watching it back, I remembered I had always wondered and wanted to ask you, like, do you process things like that in that moment? Like, do I have enough time to dunk it, or do I just need to get it up on the glass and get it out of my hands? Like, can you take us inside your head on that?
I mean, it wasn't a lot of thought. It was just, I know this clock's low, and I think all players have a little bit of a clock in their mind, but at the same time, when I caught that ball, I was like, I don't have time to try to dunk this. No matter how fast I get to the rim, I got to try to, and I shot a lot of quick kind of flick shots anyway. So I just put it up there on the boards. And I was like, I'd rather miss something that gets off in regulation than make it and be late. So just put it up. And the other thing that helped is it was tied. And so I knew it wasn't a make or break thing, but it was also, I didn't want to play overtime if I didn't have to. So
I don't want 5 more minutes against
Reggie.
That's
right. So I don't want to fight Reggie anymore. But anyway, so you're able to get it up. But it definitely was in the back of my mind of, hey, I got to get this up as fast as I can.
Yeah, that's a good word. Is like, I mean, this was a true buzzer beater. It wasn't like Luke May's shot or even Seth's against Duke this year, where there were a couple tenths of a second left. But yes, not in the fact of the game was tied. Not like, those are my favorite buzzer beaters, when a team's actually like, it's do or die. Buzzer goes off and you either win or lose based on the shot. That would have been a much more stressful encounter for you, for sure.
It would have. You know, we like to play with tight numbers, but that team, we were able to, at least get it back to tied.
That's right. So then you guys beat Clemson the next day, 92-87. That one did go to overtime, lost to Duke in the championship game. But Tyler, I know we're talking ACC tournament. I didn't remember, but I was looking at your NCAA tournament numbers from your junior year. Do you remember that you just went ballistic that year in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
That's so humble of you. Let me remind you all of Tyler's numbers. In 4 games, Tyler averaged 25.8 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, shot 59.3% from the field, and dude, 84.6% from the free throw line, 2 blocks a game, 1.3 steals, and 1.5 assists. Tyler, like, what kind of heater were you on, dude?
Just like I said, we had a talented team. I think it was perfect matchups too. It helped. Early season or early tournament, we played teams that wanted to try to run. And then we played Washington, who, again, they wanted to get up and down. So it helped a lot. That was probably the best, most confident college basketball I think I played in my life. It felt like the basket was so big. And so every time I caught the ball, I still look back at that Kentucky game where we lost and Brandon Knight made those threes. And like, I feel like I probably should have done more to get the ball just because I felt so confident in that moment. But also we tried to run some stuff and it just didn't work. So, I mean, it was a great tournament. It was fun. I think our team did a good job of getting me the ball where I wanted it. And then from there, we were able to score a lot. But again, a lot of that was we played the right teams at the right time and they tried to run with us, which doesn't usually go well or didn't go well back in the day.
Yeah. Well, in that Kentucky game, 9 for 12 from the field. So you did plenty, but yeah, I hear you saying you could have done more. Also a wild individual number against LIU Brooklyn in the first game. Do you remember how many free throw attempts you had in that game?
It was a lot.
19, Tyler.
Yeah,
you
it was
were
a lot.
14 of 19 at the line.
Because I had against Maryland on senior night, I had a bunch too. And so there was a period there where I mean, it was just one of those, I was good enough getting an edge that they didn't have anybody big enough to guard me. And once I got an edge, they would just grab me.
It's over.
So,
and with your galloping up and down the floor, I mean, it's just over. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite part. I mean, honestly, I used to tell people why did I become so good at running up and down the floor is because I knew I wasn't better than most people I played, but I knew that I was also better than most people when they were tired. And so I was like, I'm not going to be tired. And if they're tired, I got a chance.
Yeah.
And so I started running up and down the floor, and I just knew that if I could get somebody tired, I could get an edge or get whatever I needed, and then also just steal a couple buckets that I may not get otherwise. So I also had a 7th grade coach that I was terrified of that made me run a lot, and then it grew from there. So anyway,
shouts to him, man. I think that paid massive dividends and gave you an occupation. So way to go, Tyler, 7th grade coach. That's incredible stuff. Man, Tyler, thank you for sharing all these memories with us. Lots of great fun in the ACC tournament. Very excited, folks. If you're getting locked into these games, obviously you can watch it on TV, but as always, mute that bad boy, listen to Jones and Tyler on the call. Tyler, you said you'll be on the call throughout the duration of the postseason, correct? Both ACC and NCAA tournaments.
Yep, I got any more games to come for the rest of the year.
Okay, so it could be as few as 2 or as many as 9, but nice. somewhere in there, we'll see how it goes. As always, Tyler, big thanks to you for joining us, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the time. Enjoy it.
All right, you guys, we will be getting back to it tomorrow on Wednesday, and then Thursday, we'll finally know who the opponent's going to be. We'll have a game preview and all of that. I know it's going to be late, but we will be live after the game, as always, with our live postcast. We'll do that as long as we can. We'll keep tracking tabs on Seth's march to 1,000 points. So close, and hopefully Carolina can get enough games to get him into that group. You guys, if you haven't subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, do it right now so you don't miss a second of our show. If you haven't joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord or the Everydayers Club, those links are in the show notes. We'd love to see you there. As always, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, but until then, peace.